We have shocking new details in the case of the former first-round NFL draft pick, now an accused killer.
So, what was going on? You said you were up there sleeping.
Yeah, I was asleep.
Okay. What was she doing last time you saw her? Do you know around what time you saw her last?
I don't know. I don't know. She I guess went to take a shower, and then that's it. I was knocked out.
That man talking to police is Darren Lee, a former NFL linebacker who once signed a $10 million contract and won a Super Bowl ring. The woman he is talking about is Gabriella Perpetual, his girlfriend, who was already dead on the floor of their home. And what investigators pulled off his phone the next day is the kind of thing that will leave your jaw on the floor. Before we get into what happened on that February afternoon, you need to understand who these two people actually were. Let us start with Darren Lee. He was born on October 18, 1994 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and grew up in New Albany, Ohio, after his family moved there when he was about 11 or 12 years old. New Albany is one of those quiet, well-off Columbus suburbs where football runs deep in the culture and kids who can play get noticed fast. Darren Lee got noticed very fast. His mother, Candace Lee, raised him completely on her own with no father in the picture and no mention of siblings in any interview or profile across his entire career. It was just the two of them from the day he was born, and Candace made sure that meant something. She was a Navy veteran who went on to become a broadcast journalist and spent years as a lead news anchor in Chattanooga before moving over to WCMH, the NBC station in Columbus. She was not the type to play when it came to discipline, and everything she had she poured straight into her son. At New Albany High School, Lee was not just a football player. He was the kind of athlete that coaches only see once in a long while. He played quarterback, wide receiver, safety, and return specialist, sometimes all in the same year. His senior season alone, he led his team to an 11-3 record, totaled over 1,700 yards, scored 21 touchdowns, and recorded 5 interceptions on the defensive side of the ball. On top of all that, he was running track at a high level, competing in the 200 meters and anchoring relay teams. Coaches who worked with him said he was, quote, probably the best deep ball thrower I've ever coached, which tells you everything about what kind of natural talent this kid had sitting in his body. When Ohio State came calling, he committed the same day they offered, on June 26, 2012. He turned down schools like Boston College, Illinois, Arizona State, West Virginia, and Duke because Urban Meyer had just taken over in Columbus, and Lee wanted to be part of whatever they were building there. He attended Ohio State camps 5 or 6 times just to make sure they knew who he was, and it worked.
Lee was a standout college athlete, played linebacker at Ohio State, and in 2015, he was the defensive MVP of the Sugar Bowl when the Buckeyes beat Alabama. He had 7 tackles in that game, 3 for a loss, and 2 sacks. Now, even if you don't know football, those are monster numbers. And that game, it's one of the great games the Buckeyes have played in the last 20 years because they went on to win the national championship that year.
He arrived at Ohio State as a safety but switched to linebacker, and from there, everything took off. He was part of the 2014 national championship team, won defensive MVP honors in the Sugar Bowl against Alabama, was named a second-team All-American, and then ran a 4.43-second 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine, which was the fastest time for a linebacker in 9 years. Every team in the league took notice.
And then in the spring, Lee cashed in big time financially because he signed a contract for more money than most people see in a lifetime. He was the 20th overall pick in the NFL draft by the New York Jets.
The NFL never quite went the way everyone imagined it would. He put together some solid years with the Jets, got traded to Kansas City in 2019, and technically has a Super Bowl ring from their championship run that season, even though he was not active for the actual game. After that, it was a stop with the Bills, then the Raiders, and then his last professional season came in 2021. He was 30 years old and done with football, but he had made his money, or at least that was the assumption everybody made. Now let's talk about Gabriella. Gabriella Carvalho Perpetua was born on August 19, 1996 in Framingham, Massachusetts, the daughter of Brazilian immigrants Monique and Nilson Perpetuo. Her family called her Bella, and her nursing school classmates called her Gabby. But no matter who you ask, everybody says basically the same thing about her, which is that she was the kind of woman who made you feel like the most important person in the room from the moment she walked in. Her mother, Monique, described her as a mini-me but brighter, and someone who, quote, talked to everybody, was friends with everybody, and never met a stranger. The family relocated to Florida when she was 15, settling in the Broward County area near Deerfield Beach and Coral Springs. After finishing high school, she moved to New York on her own, initially going after a career in clinical journalism, before realizing that nursing was where her heart actually was. She enrolled at Broward College, put herself through the long hours and overnight hospital shifts that nursing school demands, and by early 2026, she was just 3 months away from graduating with her nursing degree and had plans to work with newborns in pediatrics. Her father, Nilson, put it simply: she was studying to become a registered nurse. She wanted to take care of babies working in pediatrics. Her mother said that despite every hard moment in the program, she did it. She was capable of finishing and she was going to be great. So now you have the full picture. A retired football player who had already earned more money than most people will ever see, and a nursing student who was 90 days from everything she had spent years grinding towards. What you also need to know is that Darren Lee had already shown the people around him exactly who he was, long before Gabriella ever moved into that house with him, and the warning signs were not hidden or easy to miss. They were out in the open, they were documented, and they were sitting right there in court records for anyone who wanted to look. We are going to get into all of that, and we are going to get into what happened inside that home on Snow Cone Way. But first, we need to talk about the pattern, because what happened in Tennessee, it did not come out of nowhere. Here's the thing about Darren Lee that his football career has always managed to overshadow. By the time he moved in with Gabriella Perpetuo, he was not just a retired football player living off his savings. He was a man who was actively on probation in 2 different states for 2 different cases involving violence, one of them with a gun and one of them involving his own mother, the same woman who gave up her career to support him.
Morning, he was having a great time with the kids, like having an absolute blast, probably having the most fun of anybody there.
Yeah.
But he also said how nervous he was. Do you sense that from him?
Oh yeah, he's very nervous. When he gets nervous, he doesn't talk. He doesn't talk, and he just kind of, sits off to the side, and then he'll talk about like stuff that you're like, what? Why are we even talking about this stuff? So, matter of fact, he just called me, and he's like, it's an emergency, and I'm like, oh, well, you've fallen and you can't get up. Well, no. He's like, I have to go on a shopping spree for Adidas. I'm like, oh, hurt me. That's an emergency. Oh, where's somebody called the squad? He has to go on a shopping spree with Adidas. And so, he's asking me what I want. But yeah, you can tell he's very nervous. It's really tense. Our conversations are kind of tense. And, it's like, what should I wear to this? And I'm like, did you get some khakis? He's like, this is the only khakis I have. And I'm like, okay, I'm leaving the room because I don't know you right now. So yeah, it's pretty tense. I just go slink up to my room on the 21st floor and just hide. But
Let's go through the timeline carefully because each piece of this matters. Back in October 2022, Lee allegedly got into a bad confrontation with the mother of his young son after an argument broke out in their bedroom. According to police paperwork, he got on top of her, wrapped his hand around her throat for about 60 seconds while telling her he would kill both her and their son, punched the pillow right next to her head over and over, and then threw her phone at the wall hard enough that it bounced back and cut her ear and made it bleed. When she tried to get away by going downstairs, he followed her down, grabbed her by the throat again, and threw her to the ground. She got out of the house with their child, who was about 1 year old at the time. Nothing came of that first incident right away, but then on April 3, 2023, police were called to a home in Dublin, Ohio for a domestic violence report. The mother of Darren's son had called his mother, Candace, because she felt like she was in danger and needed someone to come. When Candace showed up to help, something happened that is genuinely hard to wrap your head around. According to what police wrote in their reports, Lee grabbed his own mother by the shirt, shoved her into a wall twice, pushed her to the ground, and hit her in the face 8 to 9 times while pulling her hair. Candace Lee ended up in the hospital with injuries to her face that day, and when officers arrested Lee right there at the scene, they found 2 bags of white powder on him, which the lab later confirmed was cocaine. He got charged with 2 counts of domestic violence and 2 counts of assault, and a judge put a no-contact order in place with both women as a requirement for his release. Then, in June of 2023, Lee skipped his court date, claiming he was in Florida for health reasons, and a warrant went out for his arrest. Then, nearly 2 years later, in February 2025, Lee took a plea deal in Franklin County Municipal Court. The domestic violence charge was dropped completely. He pled guilty to a reduced charge of attempted assault and a separate drug charge, paid a $500 fine, and was put on 2 years of probation with no felony record or domestic violence conviction. But it didn't stop there. In October 2024, Lee was arrested in Alachua County, Florida, at a place called Cross Creek Fishing Camp. According to the arrest report, he got into a confrontation with another man, pointed a gun directly at him, and had the victim scared for his life. Witnesses confirmed what happened and said Lee also pushed the man when he tried to walk away. Gabriella was at that same location when this went down and gave a statement to deputies saying she had unloaded her own gun and handed it to Lee during the situation. She was standing right there and saw exactly what this man was willing to do when things got heated. Lee eventually pleaded guilty to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and battery in June 2025 and got placed on probation in Florida with a requirement to complete anger management classes. That Florida probation was supposed to end just a few days after February 5th, 2026. So understand what the situation actually looked like when Darren Lee and Gabriella Perpetual moved into that rented house on Snow Cone Way in Ooltewah, Tennessee at the end of January 2026. He was carrying active probation in Ohio from the 2025 plea deal and active probation in Florida from the gun case. And moving to Tennessee without telling his Florida probation officer was already a violation of his terms before anything else even happened. Alachua County put out a probation violation warrant as soon as they found out he had left the state without permission. Court records from the Florida arrest in 2024 actually identify Gabriella as Lee's fiancée, which tells us they were already engaged well before the Tennessee move. The two of them had likely met somewhere in Florida, given that both had strong ties to the Broward County area in the years before 2024, but the full story of how they got together has never been released publicly. What we do know is that they had only been living in that Snow Cone Way house for about 10 days before February 5th, 2026. Moving boxes were still on the floor in the living room, with a mattress sitting flat on the ground in one of the rooms. Gabriella had packed up her whole life in Florida, left her nursing program just 3 months before graduation, and followed this man to Tennessee. She gave up her spot on the finish line of years of work for this relationship. However, that sacrifice was not big enough to spare her from what was coming. At around 1:34 in the afternoon on February 5th, 2026, Hamilton County Sheriff's deputies got dispatched to the Snow Cone Way house in Ooltewah after someone called in a CPR in progress. When they got there, they found 29-year-old Gabriella Carvalho Perpetuo on the floor and unresponsive. She was pronounced dead at the scene, and Darren Lee was the only other person in the entire house.
CPR in progress. Snow Cone Way off Snowy Owl. I'm a 29-year-old female.
This is a picture of the body cam footage that was played at Lee's preliminary hearing in Hamilton County, Tennessee, per WTVC television. Now you can see in this picture, Lee is speaking to a first responder, still wearing some NFL gear on his front patio.
On the body camera footage that was played in court at his preliminary hearing, Lee told deputies he had been sleeping for a long time, woke up, walked over to Gabriella, who was on the couch, asked if she wanted something to eat, got no answer, and called 911. He suggested she probably fell in the shower because she had a condition called narcolepsy, where a person can suddenly fall asleep. He told the officers he had absolutely no idea what had happened to her.
So I came downstairs, I woke up, and she was already laying on the couch. Like, up to sleep. She was already laying on the couch when I got down. But beforehand, I don't know if she was going up or down. I don't know, is what I'm saying. And so I came down, and then like she was just laying on the couch on her side. And then I'm like, hey, baby, what do you want to do with me? And she's wasn't saying anything, and that's why I called 911 immediately. I'm like, what is going on? Because waking up, I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, I was out. I was sleeping a long time. I was like, trying to figure out. I don't know what happened.
Is she bleeding?
What's up?
Is she bleeding?
Was she?
Yeah.
Like, actually, I don't know.
I didn't see her just now.
Oh,
I didn't go up to her. I don't know. So what is there? So someone was bleeding because there's blood going down the stairs.
Yeah, it was probably her.
But the investigators who walked into that house could tell almost immediately that the shower story was not going to hold up. Blood was found in almost every single room in that house except one, covering walls, floors, stairs, the banister, the bathroom, and the kitchen. There was blood found in Darren's BMW sitting in the garage. Investigators sprayed Blue Star, which is a chemical that can detect blood residue even after someone has tried to clean it up. The chemical reacted strongly all through the house and showed drag marks across the floor, meaning someone or something had been pulled from one part of the house to another. A microwave was completely smashed in the kitchen. Alcohol bottles were thrown all over the place. Cleaning supplies, bleach wipes, and a spray bottle were found sitting in spots around the house that made no sense unless someone had been trying to wipe away evidence. The Hamilton County Medical Examiner ruled Gabriella's death a homicide caused by blunt force trauma, with a preliminary autopsy identifying 12 separate injuries that contributed to her death. Her neck was fractured, meaning her cervical spine was broken. She had a severe brain injury with a large bleed covering the entire right side of her brain. The bones in her cheek were broken. The skin above her left eyebrow was cut open. Her front teeth were knocked out or broken. Both of her eyes were swollen shut and black. She had multiple stab wounds, including a 1-inch wound going into her abdomen and additional puncture wounds on her legs. There were human bite marks on her shoulder and on her thighs. Blood was also pouring out of her nose and her mouth. That is 12 separate injuries on this woman's body. There is no version of a shower accident that explains any of that, let alone all of it together. Lee eventually was arrested that evening on charges of first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. He invoked his rights and stopped talking to investigators after that. Then his preliminary hearing came on March 9th and 10th, 2026, and that is when the prosecution showed everyone what they had found on his phone, and the whole thing came crashing down.
We're here on docket number 2006151, first-degree murder. Docket number 2006152, tampering with or fabricating evidence for preliminary hearing, Mr. Darren Alexander Lee. February the 5th of this year, were you working on patrol?
Always.
Do you recall receiving a call from dispatch, or I don't know how they do it, from another deputy about an incident that was taking place on Snowcomb Way in Washington State?
Yes. A name that
Were you nearby?
I was, yes.
Did you respond to that home on Snowcomb Way?
Yes.
Okay. And can you describe the scene for the court that was ongoing when you arrived?
When I arrived, EMS was already on scene, caring for the patient. Darren was.
Is that the
Yes.
okay?
He was inside, appeared to be frantic, trying to get information from him, like medical information. He wasn't really able to provide anything useful. We did notice there was a lot of glass broken. And when blood, started seeing blood stains on the wall.
And at
some point were you able to speak with Mr. Lee on that day?
Yes.
Do you recall what time it was?
Not right off. Probably 2 or 3 ago.
Okay, middle of the day?
Yes.
Okay. And you were able to speak with him. Where did that conversation take place?
And the living room, and then front door.
Okay. And real quick, is this home in Ottawa? Is it in Hamilton County, Tennessee?
Yes.
Okay. And sir, do you wear body camera?
Yes.
Just on each day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you have it on February 5th, 2026 when you responded to snow runway?
Thank you.
All right. And was the conversation you had with Mr. Lee, was that recorded on the body cam footage?
It was.
Okay. And have you seen that jump drive before?
Yes.
Okay. And did you review what was on that jump drive?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's my father.
Your Honor, as of this meeting, limited evidence is stated to be
Judge, I think I've seen it.
you can see on the screen and my laptop. Does this look like a screenshot of your body camera footage from that day? Is that date and time correct as far as you know?
Yes.
February 5th, 2026?
Yes.
Would that be 1:46 p.m.? Okay. Your Honor, this video is about 30-something minutes in length. The state is only seeking to play approximately 5 to 10 minutes of the video. It's basically the defendant's statement portion. If the defense would like the entire video played, that's it's fine with the state. It's just that there's not much going on for the other 20 minutes. Okay, so that the point of loose are correct me if I'm wrong. This is detect blood that you cannot see your makeup.
Yes.
Is it often used in crime scenes?
Yes.
This would be group 2. Where has that photo?
Yes, ma'am. That is the top of the stairs going down the hallway towards the master bedroom. The master bedroom is the room at the end of the hallway. In between the opening on the right hand side, that's going to be going to the bedroom where Mr. Lee was looking for his rig, cell phone rig. It'll be down that hallway. There's a bathroom to the right of that hallway.
Okay. And based on your experience with Blue Star, that the blue matter that you can see in that photo indicates the presence of blood.
Correct.
Is this the same area in Exhibit 2?
Yes, that's where we shut the door going into the master bedroom to make it darker so you can see the blue star packing more.
Okay, is there anything noticeable in this photograph that wasn't noticeable in the other photograph?
Yes. Besides the blood, you can see, you can also see handprints on the floor of the blue star.
Okay, and to be clear, at this time, we don't know whose handprints those are, is that correct?
That's correct.
Exhibit 3, again, is that the same location?
Yes, and this will be the same location with.
This forest roll.
I'm sorry, did I?
So we started with 2, 3, and then
I'm sorry, I apologize. Hold on.
That'd be Detective Terry taking the photograph and the blue star reacting to the brighter light.
Okay, thank you. 5, where are we at now?
This is when you come up the stairs, that bedroom on the right, that's going to be the light switch to the bedroom just inside the door.
And in this photo, it looks like there is a matter that appears to be brownish red that you can see with the naked eye. Is that correct? Could you
Yes.
actually see this?
You can see that, yes, that's blood that's on the wall.
Okay. And then also the blue star.
The blue star reacting to the blood.
Thank you. Where are we at here?
That's the same wall, it's just a little bit lower. It's down towards the floor. You can see Clorox bleach wipes and some another spray bottle, along with blood on the wall, on the baseboard. It's reacted on the floor.
Okay, where are we now?
This is what I'll call the like the breakfast nook area of the kitchen. It's near the wall on the far left hand side. That's the window looking out the back door, or out the backyard, I'm sorry. And that would be the area right there next to the kitchen, between the kitchen and the living room area. coming back towards us.
That blue matter indicates the presence of blood.
Correct.
What is this?
This is a shark carpet cleaner we found.
Was it collected?
It was
Where was it located?
in the laundry room upstairs.
And did it have, you can sort of see on the photo, have you ever used one of these? Check it out, Mark. Something similar?
Something similar, yes.
Is there water in at least one side of that?
Yes.
Do you,
Looks like appears to be where it says shark at. That would be the tank.
okay. Where are we now?
This is the garage. That's the door going from the garage into the residence.
Okay, where are we now?
This is the kitchen with the kitchen sink. The blue star reacting to blood. That's the kitchen sink. More reactive to the blood than the blue star.
Was there any alcohol left in that Jack Daniels bottle?
I believe it was empty, but it could have been, if there was, been very heavy amount of alcohol.
Okay. Where is this?
This is between the sink and the stove. There's a pile of glass that was in the floor.
Do you have any idea where that glass came from?
That appears to come from the microwave above the stove.
Describe the state of the microwave.
The front glass of the microwave was shattered.
Okay, where are we now?
This is the living room. The spot on the floor that is glowing blue at the bottom of the TV, that's where Gabriella was located. There was blood on the couches, both couches, and the pillow.
Do you see that hole on the couch that's furthest from us, this point of view?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that there when the crime scene arrived?
No, we cut that spot out to include.
Okay. Where are we now?
This is the master bedroom with the mattress on the floor.
Skip one. Below is the next one we have.
I think I switched. Oh, that one was the next one. I apologize. Yeah, that's the next one. Okay. Sorry, we just switched.
I have it labeled 15 as well. We can switch this one to 14. That one after will be 15. Go ahead.
This is a master bedroom with the bed, the mattress, with the pillow, and what you see on the floor reacting, that blue star is reacting to the presence of blood.
And remind me, was there blood that you could see with the naked eye in this room?
In this room, there was not blood you could see that I don't remember recall. Except for on the pillow, there was a pillow, and the bed had some stains on that looked to me to be blood.
Okay, is that pillow we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
That pillow was located in that master bedroom?
Yes.
So 15.
Yes.
So what is this?
This is the master bedroom. To the left is the bathroom to the master bedroom, that door. And this is on the side of the bed, right beside the door to the master bedroom.
Okay, so this photo, and then Judge, I'll be sure I can use it, but this photo, which is 14?
Yes.
Exhibit 14. And then exhibit 16, you agree that's the same bedroom, correct?
Correct.
Is there a sequence in which it shows all the 6 photos that could explain why the black container in this photo, exhibit 16, is there and it's not in exhibit 14?
Yes. When we take photographs as is, when we first arrive on scene, there will not be any evidence markers in the photos. And then we'll go back through, we'll search for evidence, put our evidence markers out, take another set of photographs. And then, as we was doing the blue star, we took more photographs of the blue star. And during the process of this photo and the original photos, that was as is. And then we searched, after we searched this area, now we started to do it. So we search and then we start after.
Okay, thank you. Which bathroom are we in?
This is the bathroom upstairs and the hallway, middle bathroom, where top of the stairs, you go towards the master bedroom, the hallway to the right, the door to the right would be the bathroom upstairs.
In your experience, the dots underneath the toilet seat, do they resemble anything?
Appear to be blood.
Is there blood that you can see with your naked eye anywhere else in this photo?
Yes, on the vanity, the side of the toilet paper holder there, the side of on that.
Where are we now?
This is the master bathroom shower.
Could you see blood in this shower with your naked eye?
You can see a little bit of blood in the shower, not that much.
Is this another angle of that same shower?
Yes.
Okay, where are we now?
This is the BMW in the garage. That is the driver's side of the BMW.
And do you know who the BMW is registered to?
It's registered to Mr. Lee and to Darren Lee. And that is the passenger seat of the BMW reacting to blood present.
Were you able to observe any blood with your naked eye in the vehicle?
I don't believe that you can see it with the naked eye, but when we hit it with the blue star, it did.
When investigators did a full forensic download of his phone, they found dozens of back-and-forth conversations with ChatGPT that started on February 4th, 2026, a full day before he ever picked up the phone to call 911. He had been running the account under the name Xander Lee, a short version of his middle name Alexander, and he had been calling the AI by the name Ali. A lot of the messages were written like he was talking about a friend or describing a made-up situation, but prosecutors argued every detail he described matched Gabriella's actual injuries and the actual crime scene with too much precision to be a coincidence.
So let's get to these chat GPT messages, because you can see here, just based off of the forensic evidence that prosecutors say they have, Lee's story of allegedly falling through a glass shower door, that doesn't seem to add up at this point. And then there's what he did the day before on chat GPT that the prosecution presented this week. Now, prosecutors argue that Lee used the chatbot as a legal advisor to allegedly cover up a crime scene and to know what to say to law enforcement. One of those messages reportedly read, quote, "Don't know what to do right now. Fiance did her crazy thing again and now she's messed up. I wake up and she has 2 swollen eyes. I didn't do anything, self-inflicted. She stabbed herself, slit her eye, IDK, but she isn't waking up or responding. What do I do?"
And ChatGPT responded by telling him, here's what to say without framing it as police trouble. He did not stop at one message. He asked what injuries a person would normally get from slipping and falling in a shower. He asked if a fall could cause puncture wounds that look like stab wounds. He followed up by specifically asking about the middle of the stomach and the side of the hip, which matched exactly where Gabriella's abdominal stab wound was located. He asked how to get someone medical help without bringing the police into it. He told the chatbot that blood had gotten all over the place. He was essentially using this AI like a lawyer, trying to build a cover story that would survive police questioning, and he was doing this while Gabriella Perpetua was still in that house. Detective Brian Lockhart from the Hamilton County Major Crimes Unit testified that the messages were pulled through a forensic extraction of the phone and that Lee wrote casually throughout using slang and abbreviations like he was texting a friend. And when officers arrived, he also had fresh scratches on his face, his hands, and his chest, with blood on the case of the very phone he had used to run those searches.
Well, it's interesting. We've seen now for a number of years critical evidence in electronic form. And in a lot of these cases, we hear about text messaging, we hear about emails, and we hear about internet searches, because we have cases where suspects, searched on the internet how to clean up after a dead body, right? Or something like that. And so this to me is just that, but with the new technology. He didn't allegedly do an internet search. He allegedly asked ChatGPT a question.
And you look at it too, and it's, what he searched, from what we understand, it's not where he admitted guilt, but then similarly to text messages and some of the other data you can get from a phone or a computer, he was asking these questions a day before he calls 911.
The judge found probable cause and sent the case to the grand jury. Lee has been sitting in jail without bond from the moment he was arrested. Prosecutors are looking seriously at seeking the death penalty, pointing to the crime being especially cruel and the attempt to clean up the evidence afterward as the two aggravating factors that Tennessee law requires for a capital case. Gabriella's family has not been sitting still either. They filed a $50 million wrongful deaths lawsuit against Lee in Hamilton County Circuit Court, asking for $25 million to cover what she went through and what they lost, and another $25 million in punishment. Her cousin Tati started a GoFundMe that has already raised $63,000 to help the family with travel, funeral costs, lawyers, and therapy. And her mother Monique went on Local 3 News and said something at the end of the interview that a lot of people couldn't forget. She said, "Bella Perpetuo. Perpetuo means forever. Bella Perpetuo forever will be. We love you. We all love you." And the family put out a statement in the days after her death that said everything else. May justice be done, and may no other woman ever have to endure such an atrocity. As of mid-March 2026, the case is sitting with the grand jury and no trial date has been publicly set. The ChatGPT conversations, which legal experts say have no realistic path to being thrown out of court since they carry no legal protection whatsoever and were taken directly off his own device, sit right at the center of a first-degree murder case that prosecutors say they are prepared to push all the way to a death penalty. The AI told him what to say when the police showed up, but it also saved every single question he asked in the exact order he asked them, with the date and time attached. And now, every one of those questions is sitting in a courtroom as evidence. What's the wildest question that you have asked ChatGPT? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.